Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart. Welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Thursday, April 11th, 2024. And let me tell you, things are really heating up in the Middle East with respect to Iran and Israel. So let's get right to the headlines. Headline number one, the U.S. said to believe that an Iranian attack on Israel is imminent, a matter of when, not if. Citing intel assessments, Bloomberg says strike could involve high-precision missiles and drones. Top U.S. general admittees reportedly to visit Israel to discuss the threat from Iran. In fact, one article mentioned 10 different ways that Iran could strike Israel, not only from Iran itself, but also from some of its surrogates. So it's getting really, really tense over there right now. The United States believes a major Iranian attack on Israel is imminent and could happen in the coming days, according to a report yesterday, Wednesday, as Iran reiterated its vow to retaliate for an alleged Israeli strike in Syria that killed 2 generals among 7 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps officers. Citing people familiar with the U.S. and Israeli intelligence assessments, Bloomberg reported that Iran could launch strikes involving high-precision missiles and drones targeting military and government sites in Israel. One of the people quoted in the report said it was a matter of when, not if, Tehran will attack Israel. Separately, the Axios news site reported that General Michael Kurilla, head of the U.S. Central Command, was expected to visit Israel today, Thursday, for consultations with Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and other officials to discuss the threat of an Iranian attack. The report added that the U.S. officials across various agencies have been in contact over the last few days as the countries prepare for a possible response to the alleged Israeli strike on April 1st that hit that Iranian consulate building in Damascus, where these members of the Iran Revolutionary Guard were killed. Both Joe Biden and Antony Blinken have publicly said the U.S. will support Israel and side with Israel in any response. We will see. All right. Again, as we've said here before, it's very important to understand if some type of regional war breaks out between Israel and Iran, and no, Hezbollah may also enter from Lebanon, we do not know. This is not Ezekiel 38:39. We've talked about this before in our book, 25 Signs We're Near the End, Appendix 4. We've talked about the war with Israel and Hamas beginning on October 7th, 2023, is not the Ezekiel 38:39 invasion. And we could add the same thing here because, again, it is Russia, not Iran, that will lead this. The armies come from the north. Israel is caught unaware during this time. There's a bunch of reasons why, and we list them there on Appendix 4. So again, please, if something does happen, you're going to have all these people come out and say, again, it's Ezekiel 38:39, this is the end. And like we say, let's take a step back, be careful what we say. If there is a regional war, it will definitely set the stage for Ezekiel 38:39. How far in the future, we simply do not know. All right, so now on Israel's side, headline number 2, it threatens a powerful response in Iran's territory if it attacks from its own soil. In other words, if the attack comes from the Iranian soil and not one of its surrogates in Iraq or Syria or some other place, then Israel has basically said, our response will be attacking on your soil, on Iranian soil. In other words, not attacking their surrogates in these countries. Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs issue threat after Khamenei's publicly vows to punish Israel over the Damascus strike that killed these senior officers. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Foreign Minister Israel Katz on Wednesday both threatened that if Iran launches an attack from its own soil, that Israel would strike back inside Iran, amid increasingly belligerent rhetoric between the two countries. The warnings came after Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said Israel must be punished and shall be for allegedly attacking this consular building in Damascus, killing these 2 generals. Khamenei said the bombing an embassy site, in that sense, Israel has attacked our territory, and technically may be correct. Speaking to troops at an Iron Dome air defense system battery in northern Israel, Gallant said any attack on the country would face a strong defense before a powerful response in its territory. In this war, we are being attacked from more than one front, from different directions. Any enemy that tries to attack us will first be met with a strong defense, Gallant said. But we will know how to react very quickly with a decisive military offensive action against the territory from whomever the strikes come, no matter where it is in the Middle East. And earlier, Katz posted in Hebrew, is the official social media account on platform X, formerly Twitter. If Iran attacks from its territory, Israel will react and attack in Iran. Now, remember, Israel's facing problems on 7 fronts. We've mentioned this, not only Hamas, Hezbollah in northern border, Syria also, the terrorists there. You've got the West Bank, Judea, Samaria. You got the Houthis down in Yemen. You've got Iran, of course. And then we've also got problems there from Egypt, from the Sinai. So Israel's got it from all these different areas being attacked and being fighting right now anyway. But if a major attack comes, and we got to look out for that, again, it's not Ezekiel 38:39, but it's going to be a real mess. We don't know what type of weapons will take place, will be used, but we'll just keep our eyes on this. Now, headline 3, let's go back to the war for a second. Hamas is insisting on assurances that the war will end in any type of prisoner swap. Hamas terror group, unafraid and prepared for Israeli Operation Gaza, plans to reject hostage deal due to insistence on permanent ceasefire and complete withdrawal of the IDF from Gaza. In other words, they will not do a prisoner swap unless you have a couple of things in place: a permanent ceasefire and a complete withdrawal of the Israeli Defense Force from Gaza. They're not willing to compromise, the sources say, and on any clear system, timetable, or for a general end of the war, unless it includes all these things. Their military arm is prepared for plans for fighting any Operation Rafah and from raids in more than one direction. In fact, Israel last night did a raid in central Israel, a pretty strong one, showing that they're still in the game. They're not just, disbanding and leaving Gaza. And it was a, pretty precise strike and pretty powerful one. So the war continues. Hamas basically has said these 4 central matters must be part of any type of hostage negotiations. Number 1, a clear announcement of a ceasefire throughout all of Gaza, the completion of Israel's withdrawal of IDF forces from Gaza, expanded aid and a full and safe return of Gazans to their home, as well as removal of debris, rebuilding of Gaza, and the provision of temporary refuge for those who were displaced. And again, achieving a prisoner swap, which includes proportionate release of convicted terrorists according to clear criteria. It was later reported Hamas' response to the proposed hostage deal was negative. Why? Since the ideas did not meet their demands for a complete ceasefire. So as we've said, as we continue to say, despite optimistic news almost every day in these various sources, they're no close to any type of agreement that would allow the hostages to be released. And Hamas continues to say, we don't even know if we can find 40 people that would fit the bill that we can release, because we're not going to release any young men, any soldiers. The only people that we have to release are going to be women, children, the infirmed, and the elderly. And we don't even know if we can find 40 of them still amongst the hostages. So that's where we're at a standstill. Now, this is a good news story here. The Israeli Air Force wipes out Hamas's leader's Haniya's family. The Israeli Air Force sent a deadly holiday message to Hamas's political chief, Ismail Haniya, a bloody payback for his celebration of the dead Israelis 6 months ago and his cruel conduct of a war that has taken the lives of more than 1,500 Israelis. 3 of his sons and 3 of his grandchildren are confirmed dead by an Israeli strike. And it was really weird. If you saw, he was told this on there's a live interview, and his response was really strange. Because, oh well, they're with all out whatever, they're martyrs for the cause. This is what I want them to be, and that was it. But anyway, they did wipe out the Hamas's leaders, his family, and this is again, Israel will be going after the leaders, their families, and anybody else connected with this terrible thing that happened on October 7th. Now, what's also interesting, which kind of throws a monkey wrench into any type of hostage negotiation, Minister Amichai Eliyahu said, "We will oppose the release of terrorist murderers." He's the heritage minister, and he clarified that his party expected to oppose any agreement to release hostages that would include the release of terrorists with blood on their hands. Because remember, Hamas is insisting of the 900 prisoners to be released. 100 of them have to be, terrorists, murderers, life sentence prisoners, ones that have already killed people, and they have to be released too for the 40. They can get 40 hostages that are there in Israel, that Israeli hostages that will be released from Hamas. So interesting. One party says, no, we're not going to release. We're going to vote against releasing terrorist murderers. So we'll see what happens there. Now, we got a couple stories here that again emphasize the United States, although we're siding with Israel with respect to any type of attack from Iran. What they're doing with respect to the Palestinians is horrible. Two stories. Headline number 6, Blinken, in the message of EID, that was a holiday there, he links the Palestinians to the Uyghurs in Chinese concentration camps. This is horrible. He compared the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip to Uyghur Muslims forced into Chinese concentration camps in a statement marking the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Fitr on Wednesday. His statement read, "At the end of the holy month of Ramadan, I wish Muslim communities everywhere Eid Mubarak and join in hope for a safer and more peaceful world. As families and communities come together, we know they do so at a time when many Muslim communities worldwide are suffering. Our thoughts turn to the plight of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, civilians in Syria, women suffering under the Taliban in Afghanistan, Uyghurs in the People's Republic of China, Rohingya in Burma and Bangladesh, and far too many others." So, by implication, Israel, acting in self-defense against the Palestinian terrorists who attacked them without provocation on October 7th, they're like the Taliban or the Chinese Communist Party, or governments that are persecuting Muslims. This is the horrible, idiotic stance of the Biden administration with respect to what Israel is doing in responding to the October 7th attack. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Palestinians in the West Bank are not in it, they're not like prisoners like we see in China or other places around the world. And again, last week, remember, Blinken compared Israel to Hamas terrorist group. Earlier the year at the World Economic Forum, he claimed Palestinians are ready for peace and Israelis are not. What a bunch of nonsense. And finally, headline number 7 says it all. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Biden has transformed into an anti-Israel president. U.S. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson blasts President Joe Biden. He's more concerned with placating the anti-Semitism in his base than standing with Israel. And this is 100% true. So that's where we're at today. So what we're seeing is, again, the scriptures being fulfilled, the stage being set. The world is against Israel. The United States, although on one hand will support Israel in any type of Iranian strike, will certainly not with respect to the Judea, Samaria, Hamas, Gaza, and this whole situation here. And so that's why the U.S. is not a player in last days Bible prophecy, the entire world eventually against Israel. But here we have the stage being set for some type of skirmish that may change the face of the Middle East. We don't know where Iran will respond. We don't know how they will respond, to what degree. Will it be soon? It may not be. They're very bellicose right now, but we will have to, again, wait and see. Then we'll determine how to go from there. So it's never a dull moment, is there, in the Middle East? But we do know how this is all going to end. The Lord Jesus Christ will return. God's kingdom will be set up. And in the meantime, our job is to be salt and light, to preach the gospel to a Christ-rejecting world and a very needy world, particularly at this time. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may the Lord, as always, richly, richly bless.